This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, and welcome to today's edition of the Pitstop, where you are the real star of today's show because you are the pit crew, and we're here to talk about sim racing news. And what a day we have. We're light on news, but we have one of the biggest topics that we've had since the beginning of the pit stop, and lots to talk about today. So happy hump day, happy Wednesday to all of you out there, and I hope you're having a great week. And so what's going on in the world of sim racing? I almost am tempted to start with the first story and then come back to it at the close. So I'm going to mention it, I'm going to talk about it, and then maybe we're going to come back to the topic, or if you guys get all over it, maybe this is what we're going to be talking about right this very minute. But we've been waiting for today. Save the date. This was the message from Assetto Corsa. And I know a great many of you have already seen the announcement. It was supposed to be like an hour from now, if I'm not mistaken, but the cat got out of the bag early, and what we have here is a video from Assetto Corsa with the Assetto Corsa Competizione, which is the official game of the Blancpain GT series. This is their announcement trailer. So we had a lot of speculation on what it would be. Would it be a new sim, a new competition, an update to Assetto Corsa? Well, it is a new sim of sorts. Just looking at some of your guys' chat. But anyway, what this is, and there are a few things that are being shown just in this simple trailer here. But we are seeing rain. We are seeing nighttime. We are seeing fireworks and other animations. Things that are new to Assetto Corsa. Introducing Assetto Corsa Competizione, the new official game of the Blancpain series. An official Grand Touring racing series organized by Swiss manufacturer Blancpain and SRO Motorsports Group. So this is a very, very big deal. And this, to an extent, there's a website here. I have a link to everything at thesimpit.com. You can check it out. But this is a new sim. Yes and no, William. I still have a headache. I still have congestion, but I definitely am starting to feel better. Thank you very much. See, there I have my cough. And T-Bone. Nope, I have not covered the shifter yet. I mean, I've talked about it, announced it, but I do not have one in-house here. But this, yeah, John Hill just mentioned that series naming on the game is a big deal. And I use the word game in an interesting way because we still don't know. And there are some details, if you read through it, talking about cross-platform, talking about using controllers. I believe they are implying controllers. They are going after the esport world with this. This is a game engineered with esport in mind from minute one. And that could play a role. Like, all right, let's talk the history of sim racing, what this means. I don't know. So right now, why I think it's such a big topic. Yes, let's get very excited. Assetto Corsa 2, whatever you want to call it. And on the other hand, do we have to be a little nervous? There are things implied in here that they're taking it downward a direction, potentially. And I'm not saying this. This is discussion. What are your thoughts on the topic? But if they are going that direction, if you think, a lot of people would take the argument that the Kunos originally had Netcar, and then they went to Assetto, which to the sim purist, they thought that was a step downward. Assetto Corsa is a great sim, but is Competizione a step downward, a step at the general masses? When we talk about esport, and this is where one of my fears of the esport world goes, there is a better argument being made for coming at esport from the perspective of F1 2017, a sim like Assetto Corsa Competizione being designed for the esport, and playing it from that level rather than coming from the hardcore simulator direction down. And it makes total sense, because when you think of hardcore simulator, maybe you're talking about 100,000 people. When you're talking about a gamey sim, you're talking about 1 million people. Maybe even add zeros to all of those numbers. But it'll be interesting to see. I mean, on paper, this could be fantastic. iRacing has had the Blancpain series locked up, but you know what? They don't have all the tracks. They can't offer the full GT3 experience. Some people have been upset with their changes in balance of performance. Some people have been upset with their tire model. Some people don't like the pay structure. Well, Billy, I just wonder if it's a step down if they're going to try to incorporate more people by using like hand controllers and making the physics a little closer to F1 2017, Gran Turismo, or even Forza, instead of being, yeah, like, is it going to become an Assetto Horizon, or is it going to be uncorked Assetto Corsa? Hey, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a step in the opposite direction. Maybe they're going even more hardcore because it's going to be their esport. We don't know. We really don't know. And anything I'm talking about is just me sort of like speculation of where I feel like the industry might be turning. And is Assetto Corsa perhaps leading the way? And I could be completely mistaken. And I'm not stating anything here as fact. It's just kind of what I'm questioning. What will this do to iRacing? What will it do to the Blancpain GT series at iRacing? It is just speculation and guessing, but what I have seen over the last 6 months is a completely change in direction of where the influences in sim racing are. And if you were to go back in time, I would say that the influencers in sim racing were a pretty hardcore sim racing group. And I think that when the esport world started coming into sim racing, that I don't necessarily think that's the direction they were looking from, or that they are looking from. Anyway, to me, I'm excited. I mean, I've been promoting this all week, talking about building up. This is Assetto Corsa 2. There's no doubt about it. This is a new genre. There could be some wonderful things about having it being so focused on one form of competition. So it could mean increased quality in car modeling, in physics even. It could even be better tracks and a better racing experience because they're focusing everything into one discipline. You know, if we want to just play the speculation game, we could also talk, maybe there's going to be a DLC, a different pack. Maybe there'd be an IndyCar affiliation and an IndyCar module that goes into this later. For me, I guess where I'm coming from is when one of the bigs comes out with a new sim, it's great news. And that is the main thing. So I hope I didn't divert attention to what could be unnecessary fears. But at the same time, I do fear the word esport, to be honest with you. I don't mind saying that. I think the esport word coming to sim racing is potentially dangerous. I don't hear the companies coming into esport talking about, well, okay, I'm going to tell you where I come from. I've been making the argument that sim racing could be and should be part of the ladder system of real-life racing. Karting cost a fortune. You may or may not get anywhere. We are seeing opportunities coming from sim racing, and whether you talk about GT Academy or the iRacing Mazda Global, every sim racer who's gotten in a real-life car has done far better than the real-life people thought they would. We have blown minds when we take real-life sim racers and put them in a car. You look at Rudy Van Buren going over there to the Race of Champions. I have always felt that sim racing was part of that ladder system. I feel that the esport version of racing is taking it towards the Call of Duty, to the League of Legends, to the Rocket League, to the esport, the e-gaming world. And that's taking us and pulling us away, because if the games start to be designed with that mentality, then it takes us away from that ladder system. Anyway, I hope I'm not boring you guys. I hope I'm not offending you. And I'm not stating any fact here whatsoever. I saw in the chat somebody said, you know, the bottom line is we have to wait till we can actually play it. So Steam Access is in the summer. Thank you, SG. And you know, and like Billy said, it doesn't mean the physics are simpler. I just think that if they're going to go after a bigger market, they might go that direction. And I think that's a fair concern. And again, not fact, just sort of a possibility. Something that made me think. When I read this description of it, there was not one thing they wrote in the description that made me think they are pushing it to a higher level on the simulation mode. So when I, as a reviewer, look at any product, I look at their marketing. I look at what they say about themselves. And there's not one thing they wrote in this whole page at their website that made me think they're trying to become more simulation. It even implies to me the opposite in all of my concerns and fears. So I think that's where I'm coming from. At the same time, I'll take rain. I'll take nighttime racing. I'll take a quality GT3 game. And I'll be the first in line to get out there and try and play and even compete on Assetto Corsa Competizione. So there's my final thoughts on it. And it's coming sooner than later. So this isn't going to take years to play out. We're going to see that this year. Summer, they say. All right, let's move along. So here we are. Nick Ottinger won last night's race in the Peak Auto iRacing Series. So right now, Nick was one of those guys in the Richmond Motorsports team, the Team Chaos Crew, and they went ahead and got their driver into victory lane last night. So we are seeing the beginning of what may be one of the most competitive NASCAR eSports series going on. And that's cool. Next up, yesterday we showed Michael Dunlop's bike for Isle of Man. Today they talk about a pre-order game today and face Isle of Man with this tribute to Joey Dunlop. So here they have a whole tribute to a longtime TT runner, and you can check that out as well. Yeah, crashing is a great thing, Star Fox, and if you think about the F1 2017, the way it played out, it didn't play out like a real Formula One race per se. It played out more like an arcade racer. So yeah, that's relevant. Dakar, another teaser. So even though, now again, I've contacted and I've talked to the guys at the Dakar, and they say they're not doing any kind of open beta. They are considering and will be doing preview copies, but they haven't done it yet and aren't ready to. But here they have another screenshot tease, and this is stage 12 from Fiambala to San Juan, Argentina. And they say something about a road included. Here's the road included in that stage. So more teaser photos out of them as well. Thrustmaster. So the reason I talk about this or bring this up is they're promoting and talking about the Assetto Competizione. They also go on to make a comment here that's very interesting if you just read the wording here. And it comes from David Greco at Thrustmaster. There we go, at Thrustmaster esports team for the Sim Driver Academy GT esports series. So this is, you know, what's going on right now, and I've been talking about this with like the top contender guys like Mitchie, guys who own top teams. The time is now to get your placement. By the time we hear about these competitions going on, we're already going to know, and the teams and drivers will have already been determined. This isn't setting up to play out in that normal open manner, but we've already seen things where here are the 6 teams that are going to be here, and they're all known gaming teams. So anyway, the Thrustmaster eSport team making moves as well. Speaking the same topic, everything we've been talking about, we're starting to get a trickle. And I've been talking to some people behind the scenes, and I know some things that are going on. We're going to have some big announcement coming on right now, or soon, with the FA Racing. That's Fernando Alonso Racing through Logitech. This is the Fernando Alonso eSport team. And so there's a video here a couple of days ago about him talking about things that he'd tell himself when he was young. And I always like that. You can check that out. But you can expect to hear more from these guys very soon. And if you go to their page, you can already start to play it, figure out some of the story. Now, I'm not going to give you any more clues than that right now, but what they haven't done is made any kind of official announcements of who their team is. They announced the team, they announced what's going on, but we haven't heard more. But we can expect to hear that very soon, and if you want to go over and check their Twitter feed out, you could probably figure it out. I just can't say it out loud. Well, Tom, but it's a Logitech. Logitech is the big sponsor of the team. When I watched that video, it's so funny you say that. When I watched this video, the first thing that I thought, I'm like, oh, okay, so he's in that play seat and he's running a Logitech. And then I thought, oh, and I forgot. Well, yeah, but Logitech is the main sponsor of the team. Of course, it's going to be a Logitech wheel. So, all right, let's move right along, you guys. I'm going to mention another combining of forces, and my webpage is being funny and slow right now. So I don't even have the whole story here. I need to switch browsers, but there's a method behind my madness, but this page has crashed. But THR Esport and JDC Motorsport are two different type gaming groups joining forces. So what you have is a more, and this kind of fits with what we've been talking about today. Why is this not working? Let me try to do something to fix this real quick, you guys. There we go. So what you had is one of their teams is really known more on the gamier side, on the Xbox console side of things, and those guys are bringing that to the table. Then you've got the JDC Motorsport side, which are known in the IMSA Prototype Challenge Series on iRacing. You got those guys on that side. So it's sort of like covering both ends of the spectrum. We talk about where will these esport competitions fall. We're seeing them on both sides or all sides of the spectrum. And so here's a team that is joining forces in order to sort of be able to cover things from all angles. So this could be one of those teams we see and hear more of in the future. Next up, oh, these pages are all slowing down. Anyway, Rocket League is adding old and new Batmobiles to the range of DC Cosmetics. So more finishing touches coming to Rocket League. I only mentioned that because we played that on Monday and had a good time with it. Beyond that, we're starting to see, this is the first actual gameplay trailer of Onrush. Everything we've really seen has been like cutscenes and other aspects, more the engineered type stuff. But they did finally get a gameplay, and you can kind of start to see how Onrush, and it looks to be something that could offer a lot of fun, and something we'll probably not take so seriously on the sim level. Probably something we won't see esports for. So as much as my concern that esport might go gamey or arcadey, I don't think we're looking at this anytime soon in the world of esport. So you can check that out if you're interested in Onrush coming. Okay, so Burnout Paradise has been remixed. And it looks like it's coming out on just about every platform. I had another article. This one's talking the PS4. This one's talking about the PC version. So if you remember Burnout Paradise, we're talking open world going on. More and more open world stuff happening. This is the remastered version that's coming to the Xbox One, PlayStation, and PC. So that's something coming soon. If you remember that game and haven't played it because it kind of got long in the tooth, you're going to be able to get back to that as well. We talked about it yesterday. Here's another article. International Olympic Committee looks set to add esports to the Olympics in the near future. Will it be an actual part of the Olympics? Or is it something they're going to be able to do just sort of in the off-season, so to speak, to keep something going? I just don't foresee, you know, right now the Olympics are going on in Korea, and I just don't see them having gaming events, but they have to start acknowledging the possibility. Just yesterday I heard about an article on the local news where Johnny Carson's old studio is right now being converted into a permanent esport auditorium or a coliseum or whatever you want to call it, but a purpose-built esport venue, and it's where the Tonight Show used to be filmed. So we are taking over. We are. I'm working on my first mixed reality review right here. This is the Samsung version. I'm not telling you to run out and get one because my review still hasn't happened, but if you are holding out looking for options, Asus has a mixed reality headset with a flippable hinge. So that is one thing that I didn't like about this one, is the way this moves. But a flippable hinge on the Asus version for $429, which is a pretty good price as well. Again, you might want to wait post-review or check out reviews before you go running out and buying one. Certainly know what you're getting before you get it. That's right, PS4. The PSVR is on sale. So if you're looking for the inexpensive VR version, only $200 right now to get that for the PS4. That's almost to the point where I need to pick it up just for the heck of it, just for the sake of having it. But $200 is a good price. You can take care of that. Next up, this is our photo of the day. So this here, John, you're right. I saw your comment about the roofline. It is a totally, they call it a 190Z, not a 240Z. Is that like a trim down? Because the 260 was bigger than the 240. The 280 was bigger than the 260. So is the 190 that much smaller than the 240? Now, in reality, in Datsun speak, those are engine sizes, not size of the actual car. It's just sort of coincidence the car grew with the engine size. But the story here is that GTA, money bonuses, discounts on yachts, vehicles, and more. So they just continue to crank new content out for Grand Theft Auto. Blows my mind how much support, how much DLC, how many mods, how many add-ons. This game lives on and on and on. So if you're a Grand Theft Auto player, you might want to know about that. I like the idea of that car. Look at that bad boy. And that does lead me to my first selfish topic of the day. And when I say selfish, it's just Simpit related or Sean Cole personal related. But someone had said, why doesn't Sean ever show his Datsun? So she doesn't look quite as pretty as that today, because this photo is about 10 years old. But that is my Datsun 240Z right there. And just so you guys can know, I don't usually show it on the show. I'm not usually about me. I'm usually about sim racing and everything else but me. But mine is a 240Z. And I guess I'd have to call it a 383 because it's actually a, yeah, there you go. It's a 383Z because that is a Chevy 350 stroked out to 383. And it's a monster of a motor put in that little tiny car. And that is my baby. If you want to know things I love in life outside of sim racing, my Datsun, as neglected as it's been over the years, it is one of the loves of my life. It just doesn't get the time and attention and money that it deserves, but someday we'll get back to her. So, anyway, back to the news. Little diversion there. I hope you enjoyed that. Scary story here. So, developer found hiding malware in-game as anti-piracy tactic. I'm not going to name any countries here, but we could speculate on ones that I have in mind. But I bought some games from some off Steam in particular that were a little shady. And who knows what's going on nowadays? It's a scary world when it comes to the computer. But this is a long time known company, Flight Sim Labs. And they've been doing add-ons for Microsoft Flight Simulator. And these guys have discovered malware within their software. And they're actually telling people that they need to check their bank accounts, need to check their online transactions, and make sure that everything is on the up and up. But this is a very, very scary thought, and sometimes when you're downloading a mod from an unknown location, you gotta wonder, even if you're getting software from a shady location, you gotta wonder, what are we setting ourselves up for? Billy, that would be awesome. I'd love to get to the track in my car. That car has been raced a lot illegally. That car has only been to the drag strip. It has never been to a road course. And to do a road course, I would definitely need to upgrade the brakes or do some work on them because its brakes do not match its horsepower, or even close for that matter. But yeah, I love that car. It's my baby. Anybody who has a car that they love, they know what I'm talking about. Next up, sailing. The new sailing simulator. So, is this sim racing? If you don't know, you probably don't know. I don't think I've ever mentioned it. But I actually used to be on a racing boat, sailboat racing team when I was young. This was in my 20s, living in Santa Cruz, my hometown. And I knew a guy who had a race boat. And I actually crewed for them. And we'd do Wednesday night races there in Santa Cruz. And sailboat racing is a blast. It's not nearly as slow as it looks when things are good. It does get real slow when there's no wind. But I have drum brakes in the rear. I have discs in the front, William. So, anyway, this is something I'm going to download and try this one. I don't know, and that'll be a personal thing. So this is something, it's in the early access phase. They're charging $40. I don't know if it'd be quite funny enough for a Monday Fun Day, but that's what I'm going to get. I'm intrigued by that for sure. And we already checked out that. So that really does take us to the end of the news. We're a little long today with our interesting discussion on Assetto Corsa. And just to make it very clear and come back to that topic one more time, I just want to reiterate that I'm very excited. Congratulations to Assetto Corsa to being at that next phase, because when they put the timer up, we were all speculating what it would be. Would it be Assetto Corsa 2? Would it be a new naming game? They had already announced the word competizione, Assetto Corsa Competizione. So it sort of brought it together where it looks like it's going to be a competition built into a sim. And if that trickles down to all of us, that could be really fun. I always talk about getting into competitions, having leaderboards. They are going after iRacing in so many ways right here, and that's spectacular because competition breeds competition. So now you could theoretically have head-to-head competition on the GT level cars. You have competition for the esport world. They could have a leaderboard allowing us that competition, which pushes us to a new level. So all this is really great news. And again, 2018, we're only halfway through February, and we have seen a lot going on. We are at an evolution. A sim evolution is going on, and there is no denying it. So we are just along for the ride. Hopefully we'll position ourselves to take advantage and have the most fun possible. That's going to do it today for everything. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the great discussion on everything, and thank you for being part of the pit crew. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.